Hello. Good evening, everyone. Um, I'm Ariel Poserio, and it's nice to have you here for my first webinar on design thinking. That will be highlighting more on the educators or more on the public school teachers. Okay, so just let me know if you can hear me clearly or you can see me clearly. And I would like to know if you can give me a shout out kung sino na yung mga nandito, ganon. And let's make this seminar or webinar as casual as possible and as cool as possible. Okay, so can we start now? Okay, all right. So okay, good evening, everyone. Yeah, I can see some audience already, and it's nice to have them. Um, yes, and to this evening, I will discuss or I will walk you through on what is design thinking. Okay, and siguro sa mga iba sa inyo, this is your first time to hear or to encounter the word design thinking, and this will be more on educators or for public school teachers, and not just only that. I think I've invited some of my uh, friends, mga parents na friends ko na who also you know um, teaches their kids at home. All right. So, but before that, I know you can see my presentation now. Okay, and so let's start. So before that, I know that we this year, this 2020, okay, we are encountering a very tragic pandemic crisis. Okay, and I got this one at the news recently that sinabi na Philippines says school won't reopen until there is a COVID-19 vaccine. Yes, and the report says that the school will online school will start this August, and I believe some of the private schools already have started their online schools, and it changes the landscape. Na bago na mismo yung landscape ng school mismo or ng education mismo. Even the environment, the culture. As a father of two kids, I also have kids who are having their online classes every day, ganon. And even their behaviors nagbabago din. So ang daming mga challenges natin dito sa COVID-19 na to. And the most affected one are, other than the tourism industry, one of the most affected also is the education sectors. Okay, and especially the teachers. There's a big challenge for the teachers right now, on how to, you know, teach, or how to, paano sila magtuturo ngayon now that hindi pa tayo pwedeng bumalik sa school, mga bata hindi pa rin pwede silang bumalik sa school, and we are leveraging right now on technology, di ba? So with the design thinking, okay, last month or a few months ago, I've conducted, or I run a design thinking with different audiences, with parents, with educators, and even with school administrators. Okay, and one of the, or some of the results or insights that I captured na nagather ko dun sa design thinking workshop na yon are the ones that are in the, nakikita niyo sa screen nyo, are the ones that are in the balloons, okay, or in the thought balloons, right? Na sabi doon, one of the thoughts there is public teachers aren't equipped enough for virtual class. Kasi right now, this coming school year will be having school in virtual class, or at online, di ba? So it's a challenge for the public school teachers right now. Other than that, we also have some common insights, like, communication with parents isn't effective anymore because it's gonna be through online. This is speaking from a school, or a school teacher, or a teacher who usually give advices to the parents, right? For students naman, students just aren't interested in learning about, about fractions, or this is a very common thoughts also that I gather from the design thinking. So there are a lot of problems in education this pandemic crisis right now. So, but each of these concerns that you've seen there on the screen can be seen, as an opportunity. Um, Opportunity for the school teachers, for the educators, and even for the parents to design new, improved solutions for either their classroom, their virtual classrooms, or the schools, and even, their local communities. Okay, so there's a need right now, especially there's a need for, for learners to be evolving rapidly in the technology. So ngayon, mga bata ngayon, mas nakaka-cope up sila sa technology more than their parents, or even more than their school teachers, especially if their school teachers are, medyo matagal-tagal na sila doon sa schools, especially in public schools. Kids right now are very much more fast in adapting technology than the school teachers. But then again, that would not stop, the school teachers from extending, or from teaching them. So kasi the school teachers, or the teachers, or educators understand their students, and even, even how the way they teach, they understand their student more than anyone else. So it is right now, it is the opportunity, it is your opportunity, and at the same time, your responsibility as educators, okay, to create solutions, okay, for these problems, as we face this pandemic crisis, as we face this crisis that we are experiencing right now. Sabi nga ni Einstein, famously said na we can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them, when we created the problems. So whenever whenever we interact with our students, or we engage with the parents, okay, um there are always challenges there. Okay, um there are always challenges there. So um now, design thinking, as I can say, is one of the approach for, for solving these challenges that we are encountering or we are facing right now. Okay. So yeah, now hold on for a while. Okay. So can you still see me? Hello? Yeah, there. Okay, sorry. Sure about that. So, what is design thinking ba? Okay. Baka marami ng um, nagtatanong sa inyo, ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng design thinking? So, is this your first time to encounter a design thinking? Mga ganon. Okay. Maybe you can raise your hands in the online, or you can say yes if you know what is design thinking, or no if you don't know yet what is design thinking. Okay. So going on, design thinking actually is a mindset. All right. So mindset po yan. Um, it is a mindset where, believing in yourself as educator that you can make difference, and having an intentional process, okay, in order for you to get to the solutions that you want to create a positive on a positive impact. Okay. And another one is design thinking gives you faith. It gives you paniniwala sa sarili mo, that it gives you faith in your creative abilities, and a process for transforming difficult challenges into, or difficult problems into, opportunities and design. So yung design thinking, may apat na attributes po yan. Okay. Number one is human-centered po siya. Okay. When we say human-centered, design thinking begins with empathy, or ano bang Tagalog sa empathy? Simpatya. All right. Okay. In this case, okay, the students, or your students, the teachers, parents, and even the school administrators are the one you extend your empathy onto them. Okay. So it's human-centered po siya. Right? Hindi po siya problem-centered. Okay. Second is design thinking is collaborative. Okay. Design thinking benefits greatly from the views of multiple perspective and others to create and others' creativity, boosting their own, okay, or bolstering their own. So maganda po kasi ang design thinking. It makes it more effective if it is done collaboratively with others. Okay, right? And second or third is it's optimistic. Okay. Design thinking is the fundamental belief that we all can create change. Okay, so no matter how hard, how big the problem is, how little time or how small your budget is, okay, no matter what constraints exist around you, designing can be an enjoyable process. All right. Um, Later on, when I walk you through on the process of design thinking, you will find out that it should be fun, it should be enjoyable. Okay. And lastly, okay, design thinking is experimental. So it gives you a permission to fail and to learn from your mistakes. So this is where, the quote says, uh, fail quickly and then learn quickly. All right. So because you come up with new ideas, okay, from the design thinking, it gets feedback on them to iterate it, or pinapaulit-ulit lang. All right. So in short, design thinking is the confidence that new, better things are possible, and that you can make them happen. Okay. And that kind of optimism is well needed in education, especially in education. This is where we will also impart that optimism to our students. Okay. So next is what can I use design thinking for? Okay. So you can use design thinking to approach any challenges, right? Okay. So you can use design thinking in curriculum. So every day you design ways how to interact with your students, okay, around their content. Okay. So you can build that one. It can also be used in spaces, or these are the physical or virtual environment or classroom. Okay. You can also use design thinking in creating processes and tools. Okay. Right now, there are already a lot of online tools that you can use for conducting classes. But what's your process there, right? So every process is already designed, and thus it can be redesigned again to set up your school for success. And lastly, okay, you can also use design thinking for creating your own systems. Okay, so designing system is about balancing the complexity of many different stakeholders. When you say stakeholders, these are the parents, students, the administrators, and the needs. Okay, yeah, with the needs of the operation. Okay, so I hope I defined the design thinking to you clearly. Later on, magkakaroon po tayo ng question and answer, okay? Para ma-clarify natin what is the design thinking. But let me continue, okay? As what I mentioned a while ago, design thinking is a mindset, and it's also a process, okay? Proseso po siya. So it's a structured approach to generating and evolving ideas. So this is where you create a lot of ideas, okay? Um, and um, it is also centered on human approach, okay? It relies on your ability, okay, to be intuitive, okay, to interpret what you observe, and to come up with ideas or develop ideas that are emotionally meaningful to those you are designing for. Okay, so all skills you are well versed in as an educator. Don't be, I know medyo malalalim yung mga nakasulat dito sa English, but don't be overwhelmed with it. All right, I will try my best to um, explain it to you in a layman's term. Okay. So ito po yung mga process ng ito po yung mga phases or process ng design thinking. So we have four. Okay, we have the discovery. Okay, we have the interpretation. Okay, we have ideation. We have experimentation, and then we have evolution or innovation. Okay, so um, I will just run you through on each of these phases, okay? And then kung how I will give some examples kung paano na i-apply yung mga phases na to. Okay? So, on the discovery phase, this is where we identify the problem. Okay? So, pagka may problema kayo, you have a challenge, okay? What's the approach, or how are you going to approach your problem? So there are steps there on how are you going to approach the problem. Later on, we'll dig into the details of that one. Next is interpretation. So you learn something from the problem. You already, you already know what's the approach, ganon. So how do you interpret it, right? So some of these steps that you're going to interpret is to tell a story about the problem, ganon, search for the meaning of the solutions, okay, and then even frame or find or discover opportunities based on that problem, okay. And next, the learnings that you get there from step 2 or phase 2, okay, will lead you to ideation. So ano ba yung ideation? Ideation is more of generating generating ideas, okay? So nakita nyo na yung opportunity from the problem. So how do you create ideas there, or what are you going to create from? So you can generate ideas, and at the same time you refine your ideas. And once you have that idea, okay, may nakaisip ka na idea, how are you going to build it? Okay, this is where the fun comes in. This is one of my most favorite phase in the design thinking process, is building that idea. So you build that idea using prototypes, and then you get feedback also from others. Okay, and then lastly, you innovate your ideas. Okay, so yeah, na-build mo na yung ideas, may prototype ka na. So you tried something new. So how do you innovate it? How are you going to expand, or how are you going to make it better, your ideas? Okay. So some of the steps there are, track the learnings and then you move forward. Okay. All right. So phase one, discovery. Okay, madali lang to. So hindi po ito yung discovery channel sa cable po, ha. This is one of the phase of design thinking where discovery means, okay, creating a meaningful solutions for your students or parents or teachers. Okay. Um, and it begins with understanding their needs. Especially if may problema kayo sa isang may problema kayo, um, you identify first what is the problem. Okay. Who owns the problem, or kanino yung problema na yon, at ano yung pangangailangan nila. Okay. In other words, discovery in this phase means opening up to new opportunities and getting inspired to create new ideas. Okay. Mahalaga po na if you want to have the right solutions, okay, you better find, or you better have the right problem. Okay? Kasi uh, minsan may solution po tayo, okay, may mga kasagutan po tayo, pero mali pala yung problema na sinosolve natin. So it turns out our solution ends up ineffective. Ganun po 'yan. So paano natin how do we understand the or how do we understand the problem or the challenge? Okay. So first, you review the problem. So a clearly defined problem is very, very essential, or very, very, very important po. Okay. Mahalaga po na yung problema is naiintindihan po natin. Okay. And then once na naintindihan na po natin yung problem, okay, we share what you know. You share how you can build and focus on, discovering that problem. Okay. So, naintindihan na natin yung problema. Okay. Na i-share na natin, or we share the meaning or the value of the problem. Okay. Now it's about time also to build our team. Okay. Remember that design thinking is more effective when it is done collaboratively with others. Okay. So great minds are always stronger when solving a challenge, and that's real true. Sometimes, solving a problem all by yourself is not enough. Sometimes kasama mo, may mas maganda pagka may kasama ka, ganon, or mas maganda pagka meron kang team, so that you can solve the problem immediately. Okay. And then finally, or second to the last, okay, define your audience. Define who you are solving the problem to. So right now, siguro one of the common problems that we can make it as an example is, how are we going to conduct classes online? Yun. So that's one of the problem, or it's a common problem that we have. You share your problem with others, when, like, let us say, with your fellow school teachers. Okay. And then you can even, build your own team on how are you going to, answer, or how are you going to provide or to create a solution for this problem. Okay. And then once you were able to create that one, okay, it's time for you also to, refine your plans. Ano ba yung plano mo? Okay. How are you going to solve this problem? So, at dito po tayo minsan nahihirapan sa paggawa ng plano. Naintindihan na natin yung problema, pero minsan nahihirapan tayo paano natin isosolve yung problema kasi wala tayong plano, or hindi tayo marunong gumawa ng plano. So, with design thinking, okay, that's the benefit of it. If you are familiar, or if you know the process very well, it will guide you through on how you can define, or how you can refine your plans. Okay. So that's the step one. So now that we understand the challenge or now that we understand the problem, let's prepare for research. So bakit kailangan natin mag-research dito? Okay? So um, research kasi is one way of understanding well the root cause of the problem. Okay? And at the same time, it will also lead us, it will also give us, you know, ideas on how to come up with a better solution. Okay? So, una, identify, you know, source of inspiration. So, inspiration is, you know, the fuel for your ideas. Okay? Sino ba yung inspiration mo? Okay? Um, one of the, you know, identifying source of inspiration is, you know, imagine interesting people you met, not just on the online, but as well as on your daily lives. Okay, so you know, you can draw a map of all the people you are involved with. So starting from your household down to your school, okay, and then think of characteristic that would make them interesting to meet. Okay, so as a team, you can choose you want to learn from, or you can who you want to learn. You choose from your team, okay, and plan how to get in contact with them. Okay. A bit. I think that's more technical right now. All right. And so once now you already identify your inspiration, then select research participants. Okay. Um, research participants are basically, as in your case as educators, your research participants are basically the parents, the students, or even your target audience, even your school administrators, mga ganon. So um, these are the people that will bring you the most valuable source of inspiration once you conduct a research with them. Okay. And then once na identify niyo na yung mga participants ninyo, this is where you will build a question guide so that you can interview them. Okay? Um, by the way, ang pag-i-interview po is one method of a research. Okay? So, um, when speaking with your participants, okay, you can have both build, you have to build, you know, trust and help them feel comfortable with you when, you know, when conducting an interview. So in this way, once comfortable na po kasi yung participants ninyo, they can give you valuable insights. They can give you honest opinions and answers. Okay? So once na meron na po kayong sets of questionnaires para sa interview ninyo, then this is where you can start preparing for your fieldwork. You can either go to, you know, your participants' place, but in this case, in this pandemic crisis case, you can conduct your interview via Skype or via Zoom or via phone, mga ganun. Basta prepared lang po kayo sa mga questionnaires ninyo. Okay? So next is once you've already prepared the research, okay. Next is you will gather naman inspiration. Okay. It's not yet reflecting on the screen, pero um, when you gather inspiration, the first thing that you should do is you immerse yourself in the context or in the scenario. So if you are interviewing a student, for example, like let us say our problem statement is how might we conduct or how might we effectively or how might we run a class online effectively. All right. So sino yung mga target audience niyo? It's your students. Okay. Now, if you want to get inspiration from them, okay, you immerse yourself. You you with a curious mindset. Okay, think or gawin ninyo yung mga ginagawa nila para maintindihan ninyo kung ano yung nararamdaman nila, ano yung iniisip nila, mga ganun. And in that way, you will be inspired more on discovering new insights from them. Okay? So, yun po. Okay, I will skip yung seek inspiration in analogous settings. Also, you learn from the experts. Okay, so I believe conducting online school is not a first time for everyone. There are already some educators or some professionals who already conduct online classes or online courses, mga ganon. So ask them, learn from them. You can conduct an interview with them, or simply you can conduct a simple email correspondence with them, and even learn from the users also. In this case, your users is your student, so spend time, okay, with them, and engage and learn from them. Okay, guide the conversation to gain a rich understanding of their thoughts and their behaviors. So mahalaga po na naintindihan po natin yung mga thoughts nila tsaka yung mga behaviors nila pag nasa online po sila. Okay? Now that you natapos yun na yung research ninyo, nakapag-interview na kayo, okay, nalaman nyo na kung ano yung mga behaviors ng mga estudyante ninyo, okay, now it's time for us to interpret those, okay, or for interpretations. So, interpretation transform your stories, okay, into a meaningful insights. So, ang kwento po kasi natin dito is that um, nung nag-interview kayo ng isang estudyante, nalaman niyo yung kwento nila na probably pagising nila ng umaga, okay, not unlike before na maaga silang nagigising kasi nag-prepare pa sila, na liligo pa sila, nagbe-breakfast pa sila, na they wear their uniform, they wait for the school bus, tapos pupunta na sila sa school na. But now, it's different na kasi wala na yung school bus, ganun. So, tendency, nalilate na sila ng gising. And then, ang nangyayari na nun, paggising nila, diretso na sila sa computer and then mag-online class na po sila. So, naintindihan niyo na yung may kwento na kayo. And then based on that stories, okay, you can gather already a meaningful insights na, okay, ganun pala sila. Ganun, yun. So, that is where you will capture your learnings from their stories of your participants or of your target users, okay? And then share those inspiring stories, okay? Not just share those inspiring stories to your teammates or to your team, okay? And then once you were able to tell the stories, next is search for the meaning. Okay? Ano ba yung kahulugan? Ano ba yung ka should I say meaningful? Yeah, meaning. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng mga kwento nila? Okay? Yun. So from there, you will be able to find what we call it themes. Okay, so after collecting and then sharing the stories from the interview, it will make sense right now that the informations or the insights that you gathered from them will be identified or will be formed into themes. It would be better if you will interview not just only one person, okay, but at least mga 5, mga ganun, or 10, mga ganun. And then make sense of their findings. So this is where ano ba yung mga based on the findings that I have, okay, or that I gathered from the interview or from my research, okay, you sort them out. Ano ba yung mga magkakaparehas na findings at saka ano ba yung mga less prioritized na findings, okay? Right? So now that you've already defined all of the findings, all right, it's time for you to frame the opportunities. So, dun sa mga findings na nakita ninyo or magagather ninyo from the feedback or from the interview, it may be a negative findings or positive findings, okay? It may also be, findings that nahihirapan sila. In our examples, for online school, perhaps yung pain points ng mga estudyante nahirapan silang gumising ngayon or nahirapan na silang gumising ng maaga kasi puyat sila the previous night or something like that. So you can already cluster all of those findings and make those findings opportunities, okay? So, um, ginagawa po namin sa sa design thinking pag nagko-conduct po kami, nilalagay po namin sa post-it notes yung mga findings na yon, and then kina-categorize namin kung it is positive findings or negative findings. Now we focus more on the positive findings, okay? So, and then based on those, oh sorry, we focus more on the negative findings because on the negative findings nandun po yung mga opportunities. All right. And then from these findings, okay, nilalagay po namin sila in a different diagrams. Okay. Um, how are these findings relate with one another? Right. So it's a still a very high level thing for you. Pero as we go along the steps, matatahi-tahi natin siya later on kung how are these steps correlate with one another. Okay?
So,
All right.
Ariel, hi.
Hi,
I just,
Lay.
yep, I just want to say hi. So, I joined late. And hello rin sa lahat ng nanonood ngayong evening. So, Ariel, before siguro we go to your next slide, babatiin ko lang yung mga tao na nag-join sa atin para
Sure.
alam nila na alam natin na nanonood sila. Oh, kilala mo ba si Ginger Arboleda?
Of course. Hi,
Yan.
Ginger.
Oh, nag-hi siya. So, we have Ginger. Para doon sa mga nanonood sa atin ngayon, let us know kung saan kayo nagjo-join, kung kayo ba ay nasa Maynila, sa probinsya, para naman maengganyo si Ariel, ang ating speaker for today, para talagang galingan niya, no? At para kabahan siya. So please type in kung saan kayo nagjo-join. Ayan, meron tayo si Sharon. Uy, ang ganda ng pag-spelling with an X. Parang sa X-Men, si Sharon. Yan. Oh, kita mo Ariel? Meron tayong nanonood from Bangkok, Thailand.
Wow.
Si Josephat Kamongol. Ayan, thank you, Josephat. Ayan, so gusto ko lang batiin si Marilu Reniva watching from Laguna. Ayan. Tapos meron hindi. Kala ko sa San Jose, California eh. Dito lang pala. San Jose
San Jose del
City
Monte.
Division. Mukhang DepEd to. Si Miss
Mm-hmm.
Elisa Pabunan. Ito, good afternoon sir. Watching from Nueva Ecija. Si Daishan Delica. Meron tayo from Surigao del Sur, si Pagara Lezel, si Vinival, good evening from SDO, Manila. Meron tayo from SDO Paranaque, si Jess Bataan. Good afternoon, Nueva Ecija. Ito, Libertad, Butuan City, si Miss Erlinda Toralba, SJDM Bulacan, Rose Bagunas. Ito, si good afternoon, Macario Abela is now watching from Kalikwang National High School from Iloilo. Ay,
Wow.
maayong gabi sa inyo tanan, mga taga Iloilo. Raquel Bala, go Ariel. Poserio. Binyan City, Laguna, Taytay. Feyan Balansag sa Surigao del Norte. Di ba? Bait Hazel, Bate or Bait Hazel from Tarlac, from Christine Simeon from Cavite. Ang dami kung saan-saan tayo, Ariel. Giginto, Bulacan, si Jennifer Recabo. Watching from La Union, Razek Astillore. Ayan, magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. From Agusan del Sur, we have Benny Genotiva. Ayan, ang daming nanonood, Ariel. So,
All right.
guys, hopefully, may matutunan kayo dito kasi very, progressive tong idea na to of design thinking. So, parang, para dun lang sa mga nag-join ulit ngayon. ito ay para makatulong sa inyong mga teachers na intindihin nyo yung inyong market or yung audience nyo. So, in this scenario, ay nandyan yung mga estudyante ninyo, right? At saka mga parents.
Right.
So, kasi
Right.
syempre sa traditional schooling dati, si teacher yung central, 'di ba, nung classroom eh. Siya yung central figure
Correct.
ng classroom. Ibang-iba na ang panahon natin ngayon um, dahil sa internet, dahil sa mga gadgets ngayon, ang mga estudyante ay very tech savvy na sila. Minsan mas tech savvy pa sila sa kanilang mga teachers.
As teachers. Yeah, that's what I
Oo, so
mentioned a while
ngayon,
ago.
kailangan i-innovate natin at ibahin natin ang approach sa learning. And kaya magagamit nitong design thinking methodology. So, para sa mga nakikinig ngayon, ang design thinking na methodology ay ginagamit ng IT, um, mga top na IT companies, no? Like sila Apple, sila
Facebook.
Google, Facebook, yan. So, pag nagde-design sila ng application, ay ginagamit nila tong method na to. So, ang gusto namin ngayon ay kaya namin ito inihandog sa inyo ngayong gabi, ay gusto namin gamitin yung methodology ng design thinking at gawin natin ito ngayon sa education industry, di ba? Dahil ngayon
Right.
nandito tayo sa napakagandang oportunidad para mag-innovate at mag-paradigm shift, no? Magbago tayo as educators and para maging mas student-centric, no? So there's a word we use also na student-centric
Student-centric.
learning. Ayan. So itong design thinking ay makakatulong sa inyo para maisip nyo ng mabuti yung ano bang pinagdadaanan ng inyong mga mag-aaral? Ano ba ang kanilang pag-iisip at ano ba ang mga gusto nilang gawin ngayon? Anong mga gawain ang nakaka-excite para dito sa mga bata? So, yan po yung focus ng design thinking is more student-centric ang approach. So, yan. So, sa mga nag-tune in ngayon, meron pa rin tayo. Babatiin ko muna para pwede kang rin huminga, Ariel. So, meron tayo si Linda de Velieres from Cotabato, Rochelle Guillermo, DepEd Santa Ana, Ilocos Sur, Vince Naipa, SDO Caloocan, Lorraine Castillo, Mandaue, Cebu, Marvin Biscocho, Digo City. Ayan, merong nag-comment na kailangan intellectually prepared and full of ideas. Tama.
Correct.
Kidapawan, Alin Angeles, Bugulas Benguet. Ayan. Si Cecilia Santos. Tama, Cecilia, stay home, stay home, stay home daw. At tama, makinig na lang sa amin. And ayan. So kung may mga tanong po kayo, paki-comment lang sa ating FB Live webinar ngayon para mamaya magkakaroon tayo ng pagkakataon na sagutin namin ang inyong mga tanong. Alright? Ayan, meron tayo, Puerto Princesa, Arlene Basaya. Okay, so Ariel, balik tayo sa'yo sa inyong next part.
Yeah. So, para dun sa mga kakasali lang po, yung design thinking po kasi may proseso po yan. Okay? Ngayon, nasa pangatlong proseso na po kami para paano natin masosolve ang isang problema. Okay? At ano yung mga process na yon. And then, we come up with, based on the problem, base sa problema po natin, once na naintindihan po natin yung problema, kanino po ba natin sinusolve yung problema na yon? Okay? At pagka nalaman na po natin kung kanino natin sinusolve yung problem na yon, then kailangan natin makilala yung mga mga pinagsosolban ng problema na yon. In this case, that's gonna be your students. For parents, that's gonna be your children if you're teaching your children at home. Okay, and for school administrator naman, pwedeng para sa mga teachers ninyo, ganon, or sa mga parents din. And then, kailangan po natin silang makilala. Itong mga participants or itong mga users na to. Kasi mahalaga po sa atin na once na nakilala po natin yung um, itong mga participants na to or users na to, malalaman po natin kung ano yung pangangailangan nila, kaya sila nagkakaroon ng problema. And then from here, it will already inspire you. Okay, may inspire na po kayo na mag-isip po ng mga possible ideas or possible solutions base po dun sa problema nila. Kaya yung pangatlong phase na po ngayon, this is where the ideation comes in. So ano po bang ibig sabihin ng ideation? So ideation means generating lots of ideas. Okay? Dito po tayo nagbe-brainstorm. Okay? And sabi nga po sa deck ko, brainstorming encourages you to think expansively or malawak and without constraints. Dapat wala po tayong limitasyon pag nagbe-brainstorming po tayo. It's often, the wild ideas that spark visionary thoughts. This is wala pong maling ideas, okay? Pagka nagbe-brainstorm po kayo, there's no such thing as wrong ideas. Yun po yung tandaan po natin. Okay, so how do we generate ideas? So una, let's prepare for brainstorming. Okay, so ano po bang ibig sabihin ng brainstorming? Brainstorming is more focused on activity that involves a lot of discipline. So this is where it takes you a lot of time to come up with ideas. Okay. Um, um, Facilitate a brainstorming. So saan po tayo nagpa-facilitate ng brainstorming? Brainstorming is an activity po to generate fresh thoughts, fresh ideas po ang kailangan po natin. And dapat pag nagbe-brainstorming po tayo in design thinking, it should be fun. It should be exciting. Hindi po yung parang nasa meeting lang po tayo na, sige, ano po brainstorming po natin ngayon, mga ganon. So sometimes, hindi po lumalabas yung mga ideas pagka medyo boring yung settings ng brainstorming natin. Okay? Ito po, isang experience ko po to. Sometimes in our office, okay, if we want, kung gusto po naming mag-brainstorming outside office hours, ang ginagawa po namin, may tinatawag po kaming design drinking. Yung design drinking po, magto 2 bottles lang kami, tapos kwentuhan, tapos sasabihin namin, ito yung problema, ano ba yung problema, mga ganyan.
Sandali. So, did you say design drinking?
Yes, it's design drinking. Yes, as in drinking.
Very interesting.
And it's interesting kasi napansin ko po na mas lumalabas yung mga wild ideas pagka ganun po. Pagka design drinking. Yeah, kasi wala na silang apprehensions, wala na silang inhibitions, mga relax sila. They're having fun. Yeah, hindi na inisip yung trabaho, ganun. So, mas marami pong ideas yung naiisip po namin pagka ganun. And then what we do, okay, so may tagasulat po kami ng mga ideas na yun. And then what we do is we select promising ideas. So pinagbubuto-butuhan namin na, ito, medyo promising to. Ganon. So ganon po kami mag-generate ng ideas. Now, you can have your own style or way of generating ideas. Basta, ang payo ko lang po sa inyo, pag nag-brainstorming po kayo, brainstorming should not last for an hour. Okay? Kasi pag tumagal po yan ng 1 oras or 2 oras, napapagod na rin po yung utak natin. Pag pagod na po yung utak natin, wala na tayong naiisip na ideas. What we think of it na lang are just only garbage noise of our brain. Okay?
So what is the recommended time para mag-brainstorm?
Not more than an hour. An hour will do.
Okay, 1 oras.
Yes, may mga activities po na you can generate, okay? You can generate ideas in less than 30 minutes. Okay?
Hmm.
Naalala niyo ba napansin niyo ba na pagka nagka-cramming kayo, okay? Or nagra-rush kayo, mas marami kayong natatapos, okay? Or mas marami kayong naiisip ng mga bagay na magaganda. It's because psychologically wise, if your brain is kumbaga in turbo boost mode, pag
Mm.
naka-turbo mode 'yan, ganon, whatever it thinks, okay, on top of your mind is the best idea. Kasi wala pong fears, wala pong apprehensions, walang doubts about that idea, ganun. So, ang nangyayari doon, mas valuable yung idea na yon. That's why when we facilitate brainstorming sessions, okay, we make it fun, and at the same time, time bounded. Okay, naka-time box po yon. Minsan may malaking clock kami na tina-time talaga namin sila para ma-pressure sila. There's that pressure. And then they will write their ideas on post-it notes, post it on the whiteboard, and then that's it. We generate ideas, ganon. Yun.
So,
So,
siguro yung mga teachers, puwede silang mag-schedule ng isang, parang get together 'no?
yeah.
Tapos
Mm-hmm.
puwedeng mag-brainstorm on how they can understand yung mga needs ng mga estudyante.
Estudyante nila, yeah.
Oo.
Kung i-invite niyo po ko minsan, I mean, you can invite me for,
Oh,
parang
puwede daw
facilitating
imbitahin si ano, si
a
Ariel.
brainstorming over online, mga
Oh,
ganon.
ba
Pwede
ano
po
yan,
tayo mag-brainstorm in
kailangan
30 minutes, an hour.
may pagkain tsaka drinks, gano'n.
Design drinking session.
Okay, drinking session, ayan.
Yeah, some of my
Okay.
friends knows that one. Design drinking. Okay. So, ito po yung mga rules for brainstorming. Okay. Una, defer judgment. So, wala po dapat hindi dapat judgmental pagka yung isang kasama ninyo nagsabi ng isang idea. Okay? There are no bad ideas, is what I mentioned. Okay? There will be plenty of time to narrow them down later. Okay? So, second is encourage wild ideas. That's why effective yung design drinking session namin for brainstorming, because wild ideas are, doon lumalabas yung mga wild ideas namin. Ganon. And then, build on the ideas of others. Okay? Huwag niyo pong isipin na dapat unique yung ideas ko. No, it's not. Okay? Mas maganda na pag nagkaisip kayo ng idea, you can reference it to someone's ideas. Okay? Tapos stay focused lang on the topic. So kung before you start brainstorming, dapat malinaw kung ano yung topic ninyo para
So,
hindi
siguro
po
puwede isulat
lumilihis yung
nila
usapan.
o puwedeng
Yes.
isulat somewhere na ito. Can we give kaya example of saan nila 'to maa-apply in a school
Yun nga,
setting?
for now, parang ang example natin dito, Lay, is more on how can we conduct an effective online class to our students, mga ganon.
Hmm.
So that's our parang example problem statement. Yun. Yun. And then ang target persona natin would be the students. Mga ganon.
Hmm.
And then nag-example na ako kanina kung ano yung kwento nung persona natin na tuwing umaga gumigising sila, mga ganon. Instead of magsisipilyo sila, diretso na sila sa computer, and then
Wala
mag-online na
ng
sila sa
ligo,
school nila,
wala
mga
ng
gano'n.
sipilyo.
Wala nang ligo, gano'n. Maliligo na lang sila tuwing recess lang, mga gano'n.
So, siguro
Pagka
nakatipid lahat
recess
ng
nila.
tao ngayon sa tubig.
Actually, ako nakatipid ako sa school bus ng mga anak ko.
Tubig tsaka laba 'no, hindi na araw-araw
Yeah.
kailangan maglaba
Oo.
ngayon.
Tsaka wala nang plancha, gano'n. Kung t-shirt na lang sinusuot or
Oo,
things
kasi
like that.
wala ng pang-imbaba, 'di ba?
Right,
Ayan.
right.
So,
Okay, so going back
meron
to the ano,
yeah, so meron tayong, mga nag-comment lang. So, gusto ko lang silang, um, basahin yung comments nila. So, si Julin Valdez, sabi niya, "During brainstorming, listen to one's ideas, don't reject." 'Di ba? So,
correct,
yeah,
approved,
tama
correct.
naman.
Yeah. And
Thanks,
that's why
Julin. Thanks you for that.
yeah, thanks for that one, Julian. That's why one of the rules there is one conversation at a time. Okay, so mas maganda pagka nasasabi po natin yung ideas dun sa grupo and so that they may build upon it. Okay, wag po kayong maramot sa ideas. Okay, the more ideas you share, the better. Uh, Next is be visual. Okay, if you cannot articulate your ideas, pag hindi nyo masabi yung ideas niyo, pwede yung i-drawing kahit stick figures lang yung mga drawings niyo. That's fine as long as you are able to communicate your ideas. Okay, and then lastly is go for quantity. The more ideas you have, the better. Okay, we are not after don't after for no don't after for the quality of the ideas. Quantity is better in ideas. That's why pagka brainstorming mas maganda po yung marami po kayong participants rather than lilima lang kayo mga ganon. Okay? Okay, so now that meron na kayong mga ideas, kailangan din po nating i-refine yon. Okay, so mag-reality check po tayo. Are those ideas, make sense? Okay, feasible ba yung mga ideas na yon? Mga ganon. And then once na-refine nyo na sila, okay, once na possible and doable yung mga ideas na yon, then you can describe your idea right now. Okay, so once the idea has started to evolve, actually you can during this refining stage or during these steps, okay, pwede po kayong pumili ng mga ideas na very potential, and then you can create another idea based on these ideas. Okay? So in that way, nare-refine niyo po yung idea. The more refined the idea is, the better. Okay. So next is experimentation. So meron na po tayong mga ideas. It's time right now to experiment on those ideas. And this is where building prototypes makes more sense. Okay, so building prototypes means making ideas tangible. Okay, so yung mga ideas kasi natin nasa brain lang po natin yan, nasa utak lang po natin. But how are we going to make it tangible so that we can learn from it? And this is where building prototypes comes in. So ano po yung prototypes? Okay. Make prototypes. Ano po yung mga prototypes? One is uh, how are you going, paano nyo po ma-illustrate or ma-draw or ma-build yung prototype na yon. Okay? Uh, in plain English, okay, prototypes enable you to share your ideas with other people and discuss how to further refine it. Okay. You can also prototype just about anything. Okay. So, ito po yung mga klase po ng mga prototypes. Okay. Una, storyboard. Okay. So, if you are familiar with storyboarding, ito po yung magdo-drawing po kayo ng mga, para siyang comics. Yon. Ang comics po, sino pong nagbabasa po dito ng comics na Aliwan or Hiwaga comics noon pa?
Grabe,
Alam ko si Lay. Alam ko
Ah!
si Lay, ano yan. Mahilig yan sa comics. Pero
Grabe,
yung
ang comics
comics,
meron pa ba nun? Aliwan, tsaka ano?
Hiwaga. Pero yung comics po kasi, storyboard po yon. It's a refined storyboard. Means to say, it's an illustration na meron pong kwento. So pag meron po kayong idea, okay, paano po tumatakbo yung idea ninyo? That's where ikukwento ninyo yung idea ninyo. Okay? So once na nakwento na yung idea ninyo, that's where the story comes in. Okay, pwede po kayong gumawa ng storyboard. Alright? And at the same time, or pwede din po kayong gumawa ng either diagram. Okay, so diagram naman, medyo ito yung mga map out structure na po siya, mga ganon. Or pwede po kayong gumawa ng fake ad. Okay, so like pag i-advertise ninyo yung idea niyo na yun, ano yung magiging itsura ng advertisement niya. Okay? Or mayroon po kayong mock-up. If it is a tool or a website, yung naisip ninyo, pwede niyo po siyang i-mock-up. Marami pong mga online tools, mayroon po mga mock-up tools online na you can create mock-up websites. Yun. Okay? So, meron po akong mga samples po dito on how or ways to prototype. Okay? So, ang pinaka gusto ko po dito na prototyping is yung role play. Kasi every time I conduct also a workshop, this is where I usually encourage my participants or our participants to come up with yung sa prototype nila. Okay?
So, prototype is parang gagawa ka ng visual representation
Of your idea.
of your idea para
Yeah.
mas makita siya, you can
Mako-communicate mo
appreciate
yan.
it dahil visual ka.
Yes, para ma-share mo siya sa iba. So for example, may idea ka na let's say may idea ka na um cashless pamasahe, for example, gano'n. Pag cashless pamasahe, pag sakay mo doon sa jeep, gano'n, iso-swipe mo lang yung cellphone mo halimbawa doon sa pintuan, then may bayad ka na, something like that. So ito
Kung
po
sa
yung sa
education naman,
role play,
kasi
parang ganoon po yan.
sa situation natin ngayon na walang internet, yung mga areas of teaching, paano kaya natin yun pwedeng gawing, ano kaya yung solution natin doon? So, ang pwede natin maging solution dyan is, instead na time-bound yung ating approach sa teaching, magiging results-based siya. Result-based, no?
Objective
Kasi
siya.
hindi ka laging magkakaroon ng internet connection. So, dapat bigyan ng estudyante ng siguro once a week. Meron na siyang homework and schoolwork na ibibigay sa kanya for the whole week.
Correct.
And then,
tapos,
so yun, we can kind of siguro make a wireframe or idodrawing natin ngayon yung bagong methodology na yon na hindi na pwede yung everyday magkikita kasi alam ko meron pa ngang mga schools na pilit pa rin na araw-araw nila makita yung estudyante nila for 3 to 4 hours, no? And I really think that's practical, and I think na stressful rin siya sa mga bata.
Correct.
Tapos yung screen time pa nila na they're spending online is also not good, no? So siguro yun yung one of the things na pwedeng i-innovate is na less control ng mga teachers and more empowerment sa mga students. So, yun. Paano kaya natin yun i-prototype, no?
Prototype. Yeah.
Parang
magandang ano yan. Magandang case yan. Use case yan. Late. Ganon. So, yun.
So, siguro pwede natin itanong yung ating mga yung ating mga manonood is ano ba yung mga areas nyo ngayon of challenges? Ano yung mga challenges na na-experience nyo ngayon na lilipat tayo sa purely online, no? So, baka pwede namin kayo bigyan ng ideas kung paano i-apply ang design thinking sa inyong mga problem statements ngayon. So, while nagkakwentuhan kami ni Ariel dito, mamaya babasahin ko kung meron kayong mga pain points ninyo or mga stress points ng ninyong mga guro ngayon as you transition to the new normal. Ayan.
Alright. Okay. So, ngayon na mayroon na tayo mag-prototype. Okay. So na communicate na natin yung ideas natin through prototypes. It's about time naman to get feedback. So, syempre, dito natin masusubukan kung effective ba talaga yung idea natin na yon. Okay? So, ang paghingi po ng feedback is una, i-identify po natin yung sources for feedback. So, sino po ba yung ano po yung ano po yung ano po yung mga gagamitin nating mga tools para makakuha po tayo ng mga feedback. Okay, there are a lot of ways on how to capture feedbacks. Okay, minsan may pwede tayong gumawa ng spreadsheet, for example, na nandun yung mga questionnaires, okay, para makakuha po tayo ng feedback. Tapos, piliin po natin yung mga participants natin for the feedback para makasiguro tayo na yung feedback na makukuha natin ay valuable, may halaga. Okay? Tapos, gumawa po tayo ng questionnaires para mag-guide po yung mga mag-feedback. So, para po natin silang ini-interview din. Okay? And then, pag maghihingi po tayo ng feedback, make it as casual as possible. This is where, the conversation comes in. Okay? Pag comfortable kasi po sila sa inyo, magbibigay po sila ng honest feedback. Ganun. And then, once na nakuha niyo na po yung mga feedback sa kanila, aralin po natin yung feedback na yon, i-analyze po natin, and then saan po ba ito makakatulong to mga feedback na to, mga ganon. So again, set aside your judgment kasi may tendency po tayo na pagka naka-receive po tayo ng negative feedback, i-judge na po natin yung nagbigay ng feedback na kasi di kasi siya marunong gumamit ng internet kaya ito yung feedback niya, mga ganon. So let's set aside those kinds of behaviors or attitude or thinking. Okay? And then once na-capture na po natin yung feedback, i-integrate po natin para mas may improve po yung ideas natin. And then identify also, kailangan natin malaman kung ano yung mga kailangan natin para ma-improve natin yung concept natin o yung prototype natin. Okay? So, ganun po. Okay? Next is, once na-test mo na yung idea mo, gano'n, nakapaghingi ka na ng feedback, gano'n. So, now it's about time to innovate it or this is where the innovation comes in. Ano po ba yung innovation na sasabi nila? So, I have my own definition here is that innovation is the evolution of existing ideas to bring better solutions. So, pagka may mga ideas po kayo, wag po kayong tumigil doon. Minsan ginagawa natin pag nakaisip tayo ng magandang idea, tapos matutulog tayo, tapos paggising natin ng kinaumagahan, iisipin uli natin yung idea na yun, hindi na siya maganda. Ganoon. So, kasi natural po yun sa sa perception po natin. That's why if you think that you have a better idea already, itulog mo muna. Okay. Tapos next time, the following day, balikan mo uli yung idea na yun kung it still brings joy or excitement to you. Ganon. So if not, then iterate it. I-improve po natin yung ideas na yun. Kanina, I walked you through on how you can improve your ideas over time. Okay? So, some of this innovation aspect is to track learnings. Okay, so for you to be able to para ma-improve natin yung ideas niyo, mag-define po tayo kung ano yung measure of success natin. So paano ba natin malalaman kung successful yung idea ko? So yun po yung kailangan nating malaman. Okay, at pagka pinagamit niyo na po yung konsepto ninyo o yung ideas ninyo. So like let us say nakaisip po kayo ng isang produkto halimbawa na para sa mga let us say or isang proseso or isang process or concept or proseso para sa online learning. Okay, i-define po ninyo kung ano what's the measure of success. Okay? And then, once na pinagamit nyo na yun, i-document po ninyo kung ano yung progress, kung successful ba sa isang user or kung nag-fail ba siya or something like that. Ganun. And then from there, once na you were able to keep track of all the learnings from your current product, then plan your next steps. Okay? So, wag po tayong titigil kakaisip po ng ideas. Okay? Um, plan your next steps again. Pwede nyo pong ulitin yung entire process ng design thinking. Now, once that you have your ideas, go back again to the discovery phase so that you can identify again another problem that you will solve on based on your current ideas. Or ano ba yung problem na hindi na-solve no ideas mo. Mga ganon. Okay? And then you also engage others, just like your teammates, okay, your stakeholders, and so on and so forth. And then this is where, and the next issue, pitch your concept. Okay? When you say pitch your concept, talk about your concept. Ibenta mo yung konsepto mo. Okay? Kung nakaisip ka halimbawa ng isang website na nandun na lahat para sa online school learning, how are you going to, sell your concept to your stakeholders? Mga ganon. And then, one of the most important thing there is share your story. Okay? Maganda po kasi pagka binibenta ninyo yung ideas ninyo yung ideas ninyo, ibenta niyo siya sa isang kwento. Okay? Kasi the way our brain is wired is we tend to understand more information when it is being told in a story. Kasi our brain is very wild and creative na pagdating na sa kwentuhan, okay, ang dami na nating napaprocess na information. Ganon. So, that's why some, if not most, okay, students don't like math. Okay? Because walang kwento kasi yung math eh. Pero, pag yung math na yon, yung isang formula ng math, dinaan mo sa kwento, mas maiintindihan ng bata, mas matututo siyang makaaral sa math, right?
Oh, that's a good idea, is to
Yeah,
tell stories while you're teaching.
teaching. Yes, and
Oo.
then it's one way, or it's the most effective way of teaching actually. It's through stories. Okay?
Is through
Kaya
storytelling. So,
through
dapat pala ang
storytelling.
mga natin ngayon, ang mga teachers natin ngayon, matuto sila mag-storytelling,
Correct.
'di ba?
Yeah.
So, alam ko madami na ngayon nag-o-offer around, sa internet ng mga
May may
storytelling
may pa-brown
ano,
bag session din ako niyan, Lay.
ah,
Storytelling.
nagtuturo ka rin ng storytelling. Ayun,
Oo. Pero
that's good
dapat
to know.
magaling pa dapat that's what I'm practicing kung paano magkwento para mas uh, how will I tell my ideas in stories para mas naiintindihan nila. Yun.
Okay.
Okay. So, yun. So, that's it. I think we're already done. Ito na lang yung mga takeaway natin. I-review na lang natin about what is design thinking. Okay? Lagi po nating tatandaan, ang design thinking is a mindset. Hindi po siya solution. Okay? It's a mindset. It's a process. Okay? It's human-centered. So, it's a process on solving a problem in a creative approach. Yun. To sum it up, um, design thinking is also based on human-centered approach. Means to say, pag nagsusolve po kayo ng problema, okay, kanino po yung problema na sinusolve ninyo? Okay? Pag gumagawa po kayo ng idea or ng isang produkto or isang idea, nag-isip po kayo ng isang concept, okay, to whom that concept is. Alright? So that's human-centered. And it begins with empathy, right? Second is design thinking is collaborative. It is more effective when it's collaborated with others. Okay, because two heads are better than one, as what we all know. Yun. So it's better if we can be more collaborative with others as well. It's optimistic. All right. This is one of my favorite. Um, it is a fundamental belief that we all can create change. Right.
Hmm,
So
that's good.
uh, uh, always remember that. Okay. So no matter how big a problem is, how little the time or how small the budget is, okay, design thinking can be your best approach for those things. Okay. And then lastly, experimental. So once you come up with idea, keep on experimenting it. It gives you the permission to fail and to learn from your mistakes because you come up with new ideas and then get feedback on them and then iterate it. Okay. Sa design thinking, the more you fail, the better because the more you fail, the more you will learn. Okay. And then this is where you refine your ideas. Okay. Remember si Thomas Edison before he came up with a light bulb. Okay. 99 times siyang nagkamali. Yung mga
99
mga
lang ba?
proto 99, I think 99 parang 100 yung So may 99 prototype siya ng mga light bulbs na pumuputok. Ganoon.
Hmm.
Until it did not stop. Okay, he keeps on iterating it until on the 101st idea on the 101st light bulb, doon yung nag-work yung light bulb na yan. Ganoon. So wag po kayong matakot on failures. Failures are, indicators of our success.
Oh, I
Okay?
think madaming tao na 'yun 'no, meron silang fear kasi fear of failure and fear
Mhm.
of, rejection and then,
Mhm.
as mga tao ano tayo, komportable kasi tayo, yung sa nagawian na 'di ba, yung nakasanayan
Correct.
na. So hindi
May mga
madali
mindsets na kasi tayo.
kaya nga
Mhm.
ngayon sa nangyari sa'tin nitong taon na 'to, madaming nahihirapan na mag-shift 'no, from the old to the new. So, pero magandang ano 'to, magandang puwedeng talakayin 'to, ngayon sa ating new normal is kung paano nga maa-apply ang design thinking
Thinking.
sa teaching at saka sa education 'no. So,
Right.
hindi rin siya magwo-work kung, ah, hindi natin bibigyan ng chance para
Mhm.
ano siya, para magamit itong klaseng methodology. So, yun lang. So, kung may mga tanong tayo sa mga nanonood ngayon, i-comment niyo lang kung may tanong kayo about design thinking. Pero yun na nga, kailangan mag-change from the mind, mag-change sa atin. And very timely 'to because, galing nga tayo sa traditional way 'no, na na si teacher ang nag-iisip ng lahat, eh. Actually madami ngang matututunan ngayon kung more collaborative even dun sa mga klase niyo, ah, maging
Right.
open tayo 'no, sa ideas.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mas maging empowering tayo sa mga estudyante, bigyan natin sila ng pagkakataon na i-voice out yung mga concerns nila or, bigyan din sila ng boses para magkaroon ng totoong collaboration na, maganda nga yung no judgment because dapat kung ano man ang sabihin ng mga bata, payagan lang natin silang mag-express 'no? Kasi meron rin tayong kaugalian na medyo nasasabihan natin yung mga estudyante na, "Hindi, mali yan." Minsan
Mhm.
nasasabihan pa natin sila na, "Ano ka ba, nag-aaral ka ba? Nag-iisip ka ba?" 'Di ba may mga ganyan tayong wirit, eh. So, meron
Yeah.
kasing, mga words tayong nagagamit na can either encourage or discourage, 'di ba?
Discourage them.
Puwedeng it can kill, puwedeng makamatay at puwedeng makabuhay,
Build
'di
up.
ba?
Yep.
So, Yun, that's why this day and age na hindi natin nakikita yung mga tao face to face, we really need new approaches on how we will understand our learners sa perspective nila, hindi sa perspective natin, di ba? Mas lalo ngayon, iba na yung generation eh. Ano sila, iba yung mga gusto nila, iba yung mga
Right.
nakasanayan nila. Like ngayon nga tayo, 'di ba, sanay tayo mag-research sa library, yung totoong library. Eh ngayon hindi na alam ng mga estudyante kung ano
Bata.
yung Dewey
Index
Decimal
card.
System. 'Di ba, kung ano yung
True.
library card, hindi na nila yan
Mm-hmm.
alam eh. So, how can we be effective, 'di ba, in teaching them? Kung
Correct.
our audience is we have a new audience who learn differently, and then
Yeah.
we're still applying the old way
Full
of
face. Yeah.
learning, right?
Correct.
So doon ko
Correct.
nakikita ngayon itong paggamit ng design thinking.
Thinking.
So,
Right.
ayun. So ngayon meron tayong tanong. Yan, kay Pau Watts. Hello, I'm a private teacher. Our approaches are modular and online. Ma'am, how can we deliver learning to those students that don't have internet, right?
Mm.
Um, Ariel. So,
Okay.
ah, kung wala silang internet, talagang kailangan maging ano tayo 'no, very creative.
Creative.
Um,
Yes.
Siguro kailangan nilang humanap ng way to, at least once a week or twice a week ay pumunta sa isang lugar na puwede silang
Lugar.
maki-internet, 'di ba? Kunyari,
Right.
kung may bukas pa na Starbucks diyan. Sir Paul Watts, saan kang city naka-ano, nakadestino? At saka, are you saying private teacher ka? Are you a private teacher sa private school or ano 'yan, meron kang tutoring ba 'yan? Ayun, okay. So he's from Bicol and, um,
Mm.
Bicol, Camarines Sur. Sir,
Camarines Sur.
saan kayo nagtuturo? Kayo ba ay sa private school nagtuturo or tutoring ba 'yan? Para meron po kaming more 'yan private school. Okay, yung school niyo
Mm.
ba may internet or, talagang wala rin? Tapos yung mga estudyante niyo, talagang walang internet at all, gano'n po ba ang mangyayari
For
diyan?
some of them.
Oo, kasi depende po 'yan sa ano yung okay. So yung school meron naman. So, ang puwede niyo diyan kasi i-apply sa inyo is flexible learning rin 'no? So
Learning.
ang
Yeah.
flexible is, yun puwede niyong mag-a-adjust talaga kayo and maa-apply niyo nga ang design thinking diyan dahil iintindihin niyo talaga yung demographics or yung sitwasyon nung mga
Behaviors nila,
estudyante
gano'n.
niyo 'no. Oh, ito,
Mm.
so may mga part po kasi dito na lugar na walang access ng internet, even mobile signal. Eh, kung ganyan po talaga ang mangyayari, magmo-modular talaga kayo. Yung meron pa rin
Yeah.
kayong um, meron
Face to
pa rin
face.
kayong handouts. Ang maiiba lang
Handouts.
dun is yung, pag-deliver niyo ngayon ng, kasi wala ng recitation, 'di ba? So, walang face to face. So, kailangan humanap kayo ng creative ways para gumawa si student ng assignments sa bahay na hindi niya kailangan mag-connect sa internet. So, it's either gano'n 'no, puwede kayong ano muna, babalik talaga kayo sa modular na may printed handouts talaga or
Mhm.
kung may laptop si bata, puwedeng USB, 'di ba? So,
Mm.
i-download niyo
Mm.
lahat ng homework nila at assignments sa USB para kung meron naman silang computer sa bahay or laptop, pwede rin nila yun aralin. And then siguro, once a week, pwedeng magkita sa school or 'di ba kahit may social distancing, pwedeng gano'n. Ang importante diyan is kailangan niyo i-involve yung mga kasama nila sa bahay, okay? Kasi yun pa yung
Right.
shift ngayon na kailangan nating i-accept sa ayaw at sa gusto natin, kailangan ma-involve yung mga magulang or yung mga kasambahay nila
Kasama nila.
na responsable na iga-guide sila 'no. Um, Unfortunately yun talaga yung solution, eh. So, siguro po Sir Watts, kung may pagkakataon kayo mag-partner at mag-build ng relationship sa mga magulang at sa mga kasama nila sa bahay. Kunyari may ate, kuya, si lola, si lolo, si tiyo, si tiya, meron ngayong buddy system sa bahay nila na magbabantay sa kanila and unfortunately, yun lang talaga yung paraan 'no. Um, at saka effective rin po yun kasi madami na tayong nagho-homeschool ngayon ng mga bata. Ayun ang talagang sagot ano diyan, ang magiging tanong diyan is willing ba si magulang na 'di ba, tulungan yung anak nila kahit man lang 'wag na yung turuan, eh, yung ano lang, bantayan lang na may tamang oras araw-araw sa pag-aaral, tapos i-check lang na, "Oh, tapos na ba 'yan?" Tapos kung may tanong na hindi masagot si magulang, ipasulat, tapos pagpunta sa school, pagbisita sa school, then puwedeng ipasagot sa teacher, 'di ba? Madaming paraan 'yan. Um, Kailangan lang talaga maging creative, ayan.
Creative.
So, ito yung comment ni Sir Pau, um, "Thank you so much ma'am and sir, it helps a lot." And yes ma'am, correct correct ma'am, involved po talaga ang lahat. Yes, that is the best way, is to be connected to the family of the students. Thank you so much. 'Di ba opportunity nga 'to para magkaroon ng time at bonding si magulang at
Yeah.
si bata, 'di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So, sa lahat ng mga educators natin ngayon na nanonood, I would like to encourage you to talk to the parents. Siguro puwede kayong magpa-seminar sa mga parents. Ano 'to, eh, parang back to values 'to, eh. Lahat tayo kasi
Actually.
napilitan tayong 'di ba, kung tutuusin mo, we're so busy with yung trabaho natin, everything ganyan. Talagang na ano natin, nakalimutan natin yung mga anak natin at ang ating mga magulang. This is a good time to use the pandemic for family interactions and family bonding. So hopefully sa inyong mga paaralan ay nagkakaroon kayo ng mga ganitong pag-uusap kasama ng mga magulang. Pasensya sila, wala silang magagawa. Pasensya tayong mga magulang. Eh, obligasyon naman talaga natin yun sa mga anak natin na dapat sinusubaybayan natin sila, 'di ba? So, baka
Yeah.
yan ang lesson ni COVID sa atin na ano tayo, magbalik tayo sa basics at, um, ano natin, subaybayan natin ang ating mga anak. So, yun.
Lay, yeah. Lay para, and just to add on that one,
Yes.
may short kwento lang ako based on doon sa problem ni ano or question ni Mr. Watts, si Sir Watts. Naalala ko kasi nung bata ako noon, wala pang internet noon. Ang meron lang sa amin TV. Okay.
TV.
Naalala ko noon, I think mga 5 years old or 4 years old ako noon. Gumigising ako ng maaga para masubaybayan ko yung Sesame Street sa TV. Channel 9 pa noon. Every 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay. So, um, you know, thinking back on that time, siguro baka yun yung opportunity din na pwede nating ma-explore ngayon na what if kung, creatively we will work with our local governments and even with with the media on um, how we can deliver education to especially to those who does not have internet or who are not online ganon. Pwedeng sa
Um,
TV o pwedeng sa
hmm.
radyo, mga ganon.
Actually,
And
Ariel,
mm,
on the right track ka kasi ginagawa na talaga ng DepEd yan ngayon.
great.
So,
Yun.
yes, it's yan yung one of their solutions right now for delivering internet, no? So, sakto ka. Alam mo ba na ako rin may kwento. Kasi, kasi,
Sana ibalik nila si Pong Pagong at saka si Kiko
oo, si
Maching.
Kiko Maching, di ba?
Si
Oo, hindi,
Kuya
pero
Boji.
oo, pero ginagawa na talaga yan ngayon, promise. Alam mo bakit? Um,
Ay.
Through the EduTech division ng DepEd Central Office, ako po
Mhm.
ay inantasan na gumawa ng mga kanta,
Wow! Woo!
educational songs, para
That's good.
sa mga subjects na ituturo sa DepEd TV. So meron na po
Nice.
'yan. And alam ko
Mm.
nga na kahit na ay nawala sa ating ano, telebisyon ang ABS-CBN na napakalungkot para sa ating mamamayan. Hindi na ako
Oo.
pupunta do'n. Basta ako'y ano, lubog talagang nalulungkot ako sa nangyari. Pero
Yeah.
inoffer ni ABS na gamitin ang facilities nila
Yeah.
for
I heard about that one.
education. So,
Yeah.
yun po yung
That's nice.
exciting naman na nangyayari ngayon sa DepEd. So, para doon po, na nasa probinsya ngayon, ayan siguro, tawagan niyo yung mga SDO niyo ngayon at magtanong kayo kung paano niyo ma-a-apply yung ginagawang DepEd TV at baka marinig niyo yung aking mga
Salita. Yeah.
mga
Ayan po
dinadakhala
Sir
ko
Pao.
na na mga
May sagot na po
educational songs, ha?
yeah, may sagot na po. Ayan po Sir Pao, may sagot na po pala yung katanungan ni Sir Pao.
Oo,
Yun.
kaka-submit ko lang last week tapos meron pa silang mga request sa akin. So, this weekend,
Nice.
yan. Okay, ito si Pau
Big
Watts.
time.
Uy, okay to si Sir Pau, ha? Thank you, Pau. Actually, ma'am, sir, I'm doing an educational vlog para po ma-access ng mga students na may internet. O
That's
see,
nice.
very good yan, Sir Watts, kasi yan ang new paradigm, di ba?
Yeah.
So, maganda yung idea ni Sir Watts sa lahat ng mga nakikinig ngayon, pwedeng mag-vlog. Alam mo,
Mhm.
nakakatuwa nga pa sa YouTube. Ang daming mga Pilipinong teachers na naglalabas ng sarili nilang mga YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
Sir Pao, inaabangan ko na maglabas ka ng YouTube mo. Ayan. So, Sir Pao, tinatanong ng Bounce Back Network kung ano yung vlog mo para ma-share natin sa mga manonood natin ngayon. Ayan. So, great. So, mag-aano muna ko, dito babasa muna ko. Sabi ni Mark David o Mark David, informative webinar. Thank you. Si Ana Sormiel, thank you for a very informative webinar. Ayan, tapos ang dami pa rin nating nag join sa atin, mga taga Caloocan. Meron tayong Davao, Olive Papay, San Fernando, La Union, and ayan. So, shout out sa inyo. So, kung gusto nyong i-follow si Sir Pau, yung kanyang vlog ay, ano ba yan? Ayan, Pau Frida Channel. YouTube ba yan? YT? O yan, yan pala, si Sir Pau pala yun. Nasa YouTube. Ayan, masaya yan. And alam nyo po, magtulungan po tayo sa mga content. So, madami ngayon ina-upload sa DepEd Commons, 'di ba? So, 'yan open 'yan sa lahat. Project 'yan ng DepEd Central Office. And 'yun, ako excited nga ako dun sa DepEd TV eh, kasi pinadala na sa
Yeah,
akin
that's nice.
kung saan ginamit yung kanta ko. Tapos,
Max.
ano pa, as in, original composition ha, ginagawa ko after work, hating gabi, sa night shift
Kaya
ko.
pala kaya pala nagrereklamo na si James. Hindi na daw siya makatulog.
So, yun ang night shift ko. Gumagawa ko ng mga kanta ngayon for DepEd.
Okay.
So,
Now I know.
yan, abangan nyo yan, yung DepEd TV. Ayun. O yun, sabi nga ni Pao, yes ma'am, I'm excited for DepEd TV. So, Pao,
Sana
baka
ibalik
gusto
nila
mo,
sina ano, no?
alam mo,
Sana
ano,
ibalik nila sina
Pao? Ha?
Sana ibalik nila sina Pong Pagong, sina Kiko
Oo.
Matching,
Hindi,
mga
I think
gano'n,
ang
yung
mangyayari
batibot,
niyan is gagawa na lang ng bago, 'di ba?
bago.
Yung talagang for DepEd
Yeah,
siguro.
for
Alam mo,
this
Sir Pao,
generation.
dapat ano ka, apply ka dun sa DepEd Central Office kasi humahanap sila talaga ng mga teachers na, pwedeng ilagay sa harap ng TV, yung medyo bibo. Ayan. So, let me know, gusto mo, i-ano mo ko, i-message mo ko, tapos pwede kitang i-refer sa DepEd. Ayan. Alright.
Great.
So, ayan, nagte-thank you si Arlene Basaya. Okay, ayan. So, Pau, nakakahiya. Eh, nagva-vlog ka na nga sa YouTube eh. May hiya ka pa? Eh, di ba, nag-ano ka na? Nagva-vlog ka na sa YouTube. Tsaka, alam mo, walang napapala sa mahiyain.
Mahiyain.
Lahat
Oo,
tayo,
correct.
lahat tayo nasa internet na.
Mm.
Kailangan ilabas na ang 'di ba, ang iyong mga talento.
Talent.
Sigurado
Oo.
ikaw, sigurado ako talento 'tong may talent 'to. Ayan. Alright. So, ayun, so pa-landing na po ang webinar ni Sir Ariel about design thinking for educators. So, kung
Mhm.
meron pa kayong mga last minute na tanong, ito na po ang inyong pagkakataon. And, ayan. And, yan po. So,
Yeah, in addition to that, Lay, para sa mga teachers po na gusto po talaga nilang malaman or maaral pa yung design thinking process. Kasi proseso po to. Medyo yung pina-webinar po natin is simula pa lang yan, primer pa lang po yon. May mga activities po kasi yan, may mga exercises din po, ganon, na pwede niyong aralin. Let me know, iping nyo ko kung interesado po kayo. May available toolkit po yan na you can download it from the internet specifically for educators. Yun. That's actually where I also based my webinar, ganon. And then from there, just let me know if you're really interested in design thinking. We can help you on that one. You know, sa Tactile Studios po, we are very much applying the design thinking, especially on our online learning platform. So our online learning, we are extending our online learning platform as a platform for conducting online learning or virtual classrooms, mga ganon. And we did
yeah, so yan ang ginagawa natin ngayon, Ariel, with virtual campus, no?
campus,
So,
yes.
So, meron tayong madaming mga innovative na solutions ngayon. So,
Solutions.
na
Yes.
pwede rin namin
And
itulong sa inyo.
yeah, and always remember po, wag po kayong ma-intimidate sa word na design thinking. Baka isipin niyo po na because it's design, baka para sa mga artist lang yan or para sa mga designers lang yan, ganon. Right now, the word design po, before it used to be a noun, but right now it is already a verb. Okay, when I say a verb, um, ibig sabihin po niyan, it's the creative way of solving a problem when you are designing. Pag nagde-design po kayo, may sinosolve po kayong problema in a creative way. At lahat po tayo, pinanganak po tayo na we are creative. Okay?
Tama.
So this is where you can explore. This is where you can discover how creative you are once you already know the process. Okay?
Ayan. So, gusto namin pasalamatan si Mr. Ariel Poserio for joining us. I think
You,
this is our fourth webinar brought to us by Virtual Campus and the Digital Educator Series. So,
mhm.
madaming nagsasabi nga na nagpapasalamat sila Ariel, like si Andy Brimon, si Christian Solas. Thank you daw for the informative session. And
You're
of
welcome.
course, everyone, as always, meron po tayong participation certificate. Mag-register lang po dyan sa mga link sa ating webinar. And as always, gusto natin rin pasalamatan ng ating mga media partners at saka partners for digital education series, Aptitude, Bounce Back Network, Vive, Virtual Innovations in Business and Education, Tactile Studios, and of course, Virtual Campus. Ayan. All right. So again, once again, thank you very much for joining us this very rainy and cold Friday night.
Cozy Friday.
Yes, sana maka-relax kayo, 'di ba? Cool. Cool lang ang weather ngayon. So,
Mhm.
hopefully, cool lang kayo kung nasan kayo. Relax lang itong weekend. And bago tayo magpaalam, ito pa, may mga humahabol. Henrita Migulias, thank you for another um, session full of
Cool
insights.
insight.
Very informative daw and lots of new ideas coming from Bit or si Hazel. And that's it, guys. That's it for
All
tonight.
right.
Again, thank you very much to the Bounce Back Network
Mhm.
for joining us for another session of Digital Educator Series. Happy weekend, and we'll see you next
Have a
week.
great weekend.
All
Yeah.
right. Bye. Bye,
Right. Bye
guys.
bye. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Nandyan ba?